We've been looking at the process of how to create lots of different views that show the information in your building model in a very graphical way so you can visualize what the elements of the building model look like. But now we're going to turn our attention to a different type of view of the information, a tabular view. And to create those types of views in Revit, you create schedules. Schedules present information in this tabular view. It tends to show information about all the different elements in your model, and you can select the parameters that you'd like to display for each of the different elements that appear in the schedule. You can organize the way things appear in the schedule view. You can filter different elements out of the schedule if you don't want them to appear in a specific schedule based on criteria you specify. You can sort the rows, choosing a sorting order by different fields and even grouping things together if you'd like. You can also summarize or total the rows, maybe computing a total on a row, or even computing some new columns that use the values in the other columns to relate them together with a formula to create a new value. We'll take a look at that under the window scheduling. Okay. Schedule views are similar to other views in that the information presented in them is dynamically updated. So as you go through and make any change to the building model, the schedule view and the information in that schedule view will be updated. Similarly, you can also go through and make changes in the schedule view to some of the parameter values, and often that'll change the values of the element in the building model. Also, another similarity they share is that you place the views or the schedules on sheets to share them. If you'd like to go ahead and display that table as part of the sheet set. To create a new schedule that shows the different quantities, what we'll do is we'll use the Schedule tool. You open the Schedule tool by going to the View tab, then choose the Create Schedules, and finally, that's a menu. You can pull down and choose Schedule Quantities. Then you can set up the schedule view. In the New Schedule dialog, you can select the category of elements to include. Okay, that's the overall category that will be included in the schedule. Then you can enter a name for the new schedule view. You can also choose the project phase or time frame that you'd like to be considered in the schedule view. Next, the schedule properties will be displayed, and there you can add fields to the schedule view. So you can select from the list of available fields over on the left-hand side of this dialog, and just click the right arrow to move them from the list of scheduled fields that are available or into the actual ones that will appear in the schedule. So just choose something on the left-hand side, click that arrow button, and they'll move over to the right-hand side. Once it's over on the right-hand side, you can change the field order. You could move the schedule fields up or down in the list if you'd like them to have them appear in a different order in the list. There's some buttons down underneath the scheduled fields pane of that window that lets you change the order. You can also remove a field if you'd like to. If you don't want one of the fields to appear in the schedule, just select it over on the right-hand side in the Scheduled Fields section and click that red left arrow to move it out. After you've created and specified the schedule will appear in the browser window. You can open that new schedule view. Once you've opened that schedule view, you can go ahead and see that the selected fields will be displayed in the schedule as different columns in the schedule. And at this point, you may want to add some sorting, grouping, or summarizing to help organize that information. You'll see that as it's originally presented, it's relatively flat. Now, when it's time to share the schedule view, what you can do is drag the schedule view onto one of the sheets in your set, then adjust the column width as necessary. Okay. Schedules are used in a lot of different ways in our building models. One very common way is to present very detailed information about the doors and windows that appear in the project. So you can create door and window schedules to summarize the doors and windows in your model, and also provide lookup information. Okay, information that will help people associate a tag that appears in your model with a specific information. So for example, in the window schedule that appears at the upper left corner in these illustrations, you can see we have different marks. So if you were looking for the window with the mark 7, that's the identifier 7, you can see that it has a width of 10 feet and a height of 5 feet. Okay, similarly, with door schedules, we can organize those. The most common use of door and window schedules, again, is to associate tags that appear in your plan views. Oh, for example, in that illustration on the lower left, you'll see that we have a window with the tag 15. Again, we'd want to look up 15 as the mark, and then go through and find the width and the height associated with that. Okay. Another very common type of schedule that appears is a room schedule. And the room schedule is used to summarize information about the rooms that you've created in your building. Okay. The room schedules typically can summarize the name or the function or occupancy of the room. They give you the room area, the perimeter and volume of the room, and they give you the opportunity by default to specifying the floor, ceiling, and wall finishes, which you may want to enter just to go through and provide some indication of how the room was finished. So in the room schedule over on the right-hand images, you can see that we specify the floor finish as being carpeting in some of the rooms, tile in some other rooms, the ceiling finish being the acoustical ceiling tile in some of the rooms. Those floor, ceiling, and wall finishes aren't smartly read from the building elements, so those are just text fields to help you display the information. Other things like the area are automatically computed, so the area of 449 square feet for that one office is computed just from the building model itself. Okay. You can often edit field information in schedule views. For example, if you'd like to change the name of one of the rooms, I'm pulling down on, in the illustration here, the name of the room that's currently called waiting. You'll see that you can go through and choose one of the other options for names that have already been used to change it to either a hallway or office, or you can just type in another value if you'd like to go through and use a different value in that field. Okay, let's go ahead now and just take a look at a demo of how we actually can use the scheduling and set them up in the actual Revit modeling environment.